Hello and welcome to this special showcase of the changing face of retail, a programme by the British Retail Consortium and ITN Productions. Now, yours is an industry that affects everyone, whether it's buying the food we feed our family, getting those must-have purchases for our homes, or exciting shopping days out with friends. It's an industry with great personalities and personal stories. Join me now as we discover how the UK's largest private sector employer can thrive in a time of increased financial changes and the digital revolution.
Every one of these shoppers is part of a revolution, and it's changing the face of retail. And the face of our towns and cities, where high streets are evolving thanks to a tsunami of financial, technological and social change.
It has been said that the high street is dead. I think that's a complete misnomer. I think the high street is evolving. The high street is going to some extent beyond retail.
The digital revolution has transformed the retail landscape, and that could mean 900,000 fewer jobs by 2025.
But 100,000 people are employed in retail jobs that didn't exist 5 years ago. Just one example of the transformation.
There are new job roles being created, there's productivity opportunities. Retail is actually improving its productivity growth at 6 times the rate of the UK economy as a whole, and that's down to both an investment in technology and innovation and an investment in people.
The UK is a global leader in online shopping. Nearly 25% of our non-food sales are online. Online itself accounts for about 15% of sales, higher than almost any other country in the world. And the way people shop is fundamentally changing. 60% of retail jobs are at a higher risk of automation in the next 20 years, making it one of the industries most at risk. Structural change, along with rising cost pressures, mean there's expected to be up to 900,000 fewer jobs in the retail sector. In Britain too, there are unique pressures on retailers, from the national living wage, the apprenticeship levy, Brexit and increasing business rates. So how can the industry protect itself, its people and its bottom line?
It's one of our priority projects in ensuring that we have a fair Brexit for consumers, because obviously a lot of what we buy in this country is imported from other countries. We know that the pound has devalued, so that means that the cost of those imports has become more expensive. So how we work with and support government in the negotiations in ensuring that we keep prices low for consumers, that we give certainty to the EU colleagues that are working within the industry today, and continuity around all the legislation that impacts us as consumers.
And consumer expectations are skyrocketing. The challenge is making shopping more about the experience than about the product.
What we are seeing is a real desire for more than just retail, and creating those experiences and a real destination, particularly with young consumers like millennials, where the experience has now become a lot more important than that material purchase.
At this Nespresso store in Westfield, London, tasting sessions are designed to broaden shoppers' knowledge.
Coffee has to be experienced. We have this range of coffees, huge range of flavours and profiles and tastes. The only way to really understand them is to come inside these boutiques. These boutiques were created exactly for that, so that people could come, ask questions and explore the coffees. Employees
here are in no doubt that technology and creativity are providing them with more fulfilling jobs.
It's been interesting over the last few years how much higher the people agenda is coming in the conversations that I'm having with retail chief executives and other people within the businesses. So what we know from the research that we've done on Retail 2020 is that there are nearly 3/4 of people who work in retail have got ideas about how things could be done better within their businesses. And so how retail businesses themselves can engage their people and help them improve the way that the business operates for the benefit of their customers is all part of that transformational change.
Tesco's People Director Natasha Adams believes the industry is uniquely able to meet the emerging job expectations of a new generation of retail workers.
What I think retail can bring is a really good opportunity to learn skill with flexibility, and flexibility that isn't forever. It can change shape over time. As people's lives change, the opportunities can change, and we're incredibly committed to being able to offer people the flexibility that they need, as we need, in order to serve customers brilliantly well.
Mobile phone provider O2 has over 450 shops on high streets and in shopping centres across the country. But the company continues to transform its retail store experience.
Retail is still massively important to O2. It's still our biggest route to market. It's still where our customers want to interact with us the most. They may well start in the online space or with the telephone customer service, but ultimately they will come into the store. And therefore what we've got to do is we've got to drive a great experience in store.
Well, the main role of an O2 guru is to provide customers with that free advice that they can use to get the most and the best out of their technology. And we provide knowledge to people on how they can take the best pictures, back up their old devices and set up their new ones too.
All of the staff here have been recruited because they have specific interests like music, photography or fitness.
In this store, we don't incentivise on commercial targets. We actually incentivise on customer happiness. Actually, the sales in this store show that's worked very, very well.
So is it now time for the industry to do more to change the negative perception of jobs in the sector? At Tesco, the view of one graduate trainee, William Etherington, is that change is good.
It was an active decision from myself to go into retail. It was a career that I pursued to really understand what customers think, how they shop. I think it's quite a stable industry as well. Customers are always going to want to buy and sell products. What those products are and the platform and the way that they shop them, that will always evolve and that will always change. So that's what makes the industry really exciting as well.
But Will also wants to see the retail industry do much more to promote the breadth of opportunity on offer.
There are so many different aspects to a retail business, whether it be logistics, finance, marketing, online, the customer analysis, or what I do myself, which is space, range and display. I never thought that a department such as space, range and display would exist before actually looking into Tesco and other retailers. And there's actually a job out there where you decide how products are placed on a shelf and delivering merchandising plans to stores.
On and off the high street, one thing is certain: intelligent technology will mean fewer but better jobs. One goal for retailers and their employees is a seamless purchase for customers. Barclaycard research found that 2/3 of UK shoppers said they'd abandoned an in-store purchase, so faster payments mean fewer lost sales.
Omnichannel is really what I think is the holy grail of payments at the moment. It really makes sure that the payment systems are all linked and integrated into a single point, which means you would be able to recognise me whether I'm online, in-store, or even calling to your call centre, and as a result would be treated in a consistent manner against your brand, which I think is absolutely key.
Charity shops are also leading the digital charge. Sue Riders embrace change and digital in particular, selling new items online as well as in store and vintage pieces through eBay. But now the charity's going one step further with electronic point of sale and warehouse management system software.
By putting this system in, we'll see a broad range of what we do. We'll also be able to see snapshots constantly of what our shops are taking for their average transaction value. As an area manager, it will help me see where I need to focus.
Sue Ryder has worked with the technology company K3 Retail to install the new technology and retrain its staff.
So if you have a data analytics or data intelligence tool that helps you bring that data to life and helps you spot trends, spot areas in your business that you can drive more efficiencies through, that's when it comes live.
Today's consumers move seamlessly from online browsing to in-store visits, and ShopperTrack's technology aims to give retailers the maximum information about a potential customer's habits.
The difficulty for most modern retailers is tying that all together and understanding which parts of the process are most influential in getting someone to buy.
ShopperTrack interprets Wi-Fi signals from mobile phones to gather data on customer behaviour, helping stores like Thomas Sabo create an individualised experience.
In an ideal world, I would love our staff to know the customer almost as they come through the door, not because they've seen them before, hopefully because they have, but also just because technology should be there so that when the customer comes in, we know who they were, we may even know what they were shopping or what they were doing online before they came in.
So if technology is helping to supercharge retailers and encourage new and exciting job creation, government policy could also be accused of stifling the growth of jobs at a time when the stakes are high.
We've seen a number of sort of fairly big changes over the course of the last couple of years that have impacted the industry quite significantly. The introduction of the national living wage, the apprenticeship levy, these are all policies that have a big sort of cost-based challenge associated with them, but also ones where certainly on the national living wage, where the industry is very supportive, but where we need to ensure that businesses are becoming more efficient to be able to address some of those challenges.
And navigating the new landscape, policy and all, is what drives Professor Jonathan Reynolds in his bid to guide the new generation of retail business leaders.
But over the last 5 years or so, we've probably seen the beginning of a transformational change that exceeds anything we've seen in a generation. And that's really about, if anything, about the certainty of uncertainty, not just from the internet, but from different kinds of technology, from 3D printing through to augmented reality and virtual reality, AI.
And new technology is helping retailers adapt to the huge demands of time-poor customers. At this Peter Jones store, Avery Denison's radio frequency identification technology is being used to allow staff to count hundreds of items of stock in a matter of seconds.
RFID primarily helps our customers because it allows us to have much better availability on the shop floor. It also helps our staff because we know exactly what's in the stockroom and what's in the shop floor. And finally helps our merchandisers so that they can allocate stock much more accurately to shops.
RFID technology allows the retailer to address a fundamental concern of what shoppers are looking for, which is I find what I'm looking for whenever I go into a store or whenever I go online or whenever I'm searching an app on my mobile phone. So from a shopper, it allows them to find what they need. From the retailer, it allows them to be extremely efficient in creating that. It allows them to reduce markdowns and allows them to make sure that they have a continuum accurate inventory across the year.
And for British retailers, new customer behaviour is creating a further challenge. An estimated £60 billion is being lost each year due to stock being locked up in the return system. One company, Clear Returns, is helping retailers reduce the volume of customer returns before the point of purchase rather than after.
If there's not enough stock to go around, it is a really commercially imperative decision that the stock flows towards the people that will keep it.
Cross-analysing trillions of data collected from some of the country's leading retailers, the company identifies the reasons that a product is returned and who is likely to return it.
We have this 360-degree view of what's actually going on in the business. We can actually say, actually, this customer is returning pink colors really badly, but they're actually keeping grays. So we don't want to punish them by not selling to them altogether. Instead, what we want to do is focus more on making sure they're happy with their grays and maybe limiting their exposure to the pink colors.
Regina's role as a data scientist is just one example of the changing face of retail jobs.
There's opportunity there for the current workforce, opportunities for employees to upskill, to learn how to use new technologies and to work in different ways. But there's also opportunities in roles that are being created that aren't traditionally retail roles. So data analysts, software engineers, sort of that technical side of things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with retail.
For one high-end fashion designer, Henry Holland, innovation is the answer to supercharging buyer confidence and minimising returns.
One of the big questions facing the industry at the moment really is how we better service the consumer and how we close that gap between collections being showcased on the catwalk and then having to wait 6 months before they're delivered into the store.
Technology innovators Metail provided the answer. Their unique digital fitting technology allows customers to style clothes on their virtual body and see them in 360 degrees.
What that means for the consumer is allowing them to try on clothes to see how they will fit through creating a 3D version of themselves. And for retailers, what that means is generating size and shape data for their customers for the first time ever to enable them to both target the right customers and also make the right clothes for their customers, which will have huge efficiency gains for everything that they do.
Green room design solves another retailer challenge, one that lies in moving from clicks to bricks. And that means that shops are evolving beyond simple retail spaces. At another of their design spaces, the central London North Face store, the brief was to develop a space that doesn't just sell, but connects with customers and creates a community.
The store environment isn't just an exhibition of product, it's not just a place to shift inventory. It's a place that engages on an emotional level. The purchase of a product is a souvenir of an emotional experience.
At Shop Direct, the UK's second biggest e-tailer and the force behind the Littlewoods brand, very.co.uk, the challenge has been in developing a brilliant mobile experience, tested at their in-house customer experience facility with tech consultancy ThoughtWorks on board to generate new ideas.
So the world of retail has become incredibly complex, and with our model of modern retail, what we're trying to do is simplify that down to 7 constituent parts that are really important. A platform for growth, a great contextual experience for the customer, unified inventory, seamless commerce, product insight that actually drives customer loyalty. And with all of those things together, that really does allow the business to innovate on its model and create new opportunities.
So retailers big and small need to think about how they can maximise the potential of their people, harness new technology and provide rich and rewarding careers whilst boosting productivity. But it is a challenge the industry believes it can rise to.
We can't fully forecast what's going to happen, as I say, next week, let alone in the next 5 years. What we can do, though, is gain some of the possibilities, some of the possible futures. And so, well, if it were to be like this, what would that mean for us? Are we prepared? So again, a resilient approach to strategy is around thinking about alternative futures and not being wedded to a single possibility.
While retail's future is far from clear, many retailers are relishing the opportunity to innovate and to create new and exciting jobs.
We hope you've enjoyed this special showcase of the changing face of retail, exploring the exciting changes in the retail industry and the importance of employers and their staff. All of today's reports are available in full on the BRC's website. The details are on the screen now. From me and the rest of the team here, thank you for watching. Goodbye.